Leviticus, the third book of the Bible, is a call to holiness. After delivering the Israelites from Egypt, God sets the standard for how his people can live in his holy presence. The book is filled with laws, sacrifices, and instructions showing that God cares about every detail of their worship and daily lives. The book begins with the 5 types of sacrifices: burnt offerings, grain offerings, peace offerings, sin offerings, and guilt offerings. These offerings serve different purposes. Some express gratitude, while others atone for sins. Each sacrifice reflects the seriousness of sin and the need for reconciliation with God. Leviticus also focuses on the priests who are chosen to lead worship and perform sacred rituals. The ordination of Aaron and his sons as priests marks a significant moment, but it also comes with great responsibility. When Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, offer unauthorized fire, God strikes them down, demonstrating the importance of obeying his commands. And one of the most important sections of Leviticus is the Day of Atonement, also known as Yom Kippur. This sacred day is a time for the entire nation to repent and be cleansed of sin. The high priest offers sacrifices for himself and the people, sprinkling blood on the mercy seat in the tabernacle. A scapegoat, symbolically carrying the sins of the people, is sent into the wilderness, showing how God removes their guilt. Leviticus also includes laws about clean and unclean animals, diseases, and purification rituals. These rules are not just about hygiene, but about separating what is holy from what is common. God's holiness demands that his people live in purity. The book extends beyond worship to moral laws, covering justice, relationships, and care for the vulnerable. The famous command to love your neighbor as yourself is found here, showing that holiness includes how we treat others. Leviticus concludes with blessings for obedience and warnings for disobedience. The message is clear. God desires his people to reflect his holiness in every area of life. Leviticus may seem challenging, but its lessons about holiness, atonement, and living in covenant with God remain timeless. Summary for Leviticus. Leviticus, a call to holiness. Leviticus is the third book of the Bible focused on God's laws for the Israelites. After delivering them from Egypt, God shows how his people can live holy lives in his presence. Through detailed instructions, Leviticus emphasizes worship, sacrifices, and purity. The book begins with 5 types of sacrifices to restore fellowship with God: burnt offerings, grain offerings, peace offerings, sin offerings, and guilt offerings. These sacrifices represent atonement for sins and thanksgiving to God. Leviticus also sets guidelines for priests who serve as mediators between God and the people. These instructions highlight the importance of purity, both physically and spiritually, as God is holy. The book introduces the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, a sacred day for the entire nation to repent and be cleansed of sin. The high priest offers sacrifices for himself and the people, symbolically transferring their sins to a scapegoat sent into the wilderness. Leviticus also covers laws about clean and unclean foods, diseases, and moral behavior. It underscores the need for holiness in every aspect of life, from worship to daily living. Leviticus is more than a list of rules. It's an invitation to live in covenant with a holy God. Its core message is that God desires his people to reflect his holiness through obedience, purity, and love.